What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to an episode brought to you by Moderation Gaming, and today we're going to be taking a look at Gimmick Deck of the Week, Episode 1. This is the first episode of the series, but I thought this would be an interesting series where we'd emphasize maybe an idea or a principle of a deck that we can try in the ladder. The idea is that we maybe run a deck around one card or several cards, or maybe a weakness of a class, and then we try to put an emphasis of the weakness and turn it into impossible strength. In this case, today we're going to be taking a look at Gazlo Shaman. You can imagine the utility here. Shaman typically runs a lot of one-mana removals. You can even fit Forked Lightning in this deck, but Forked Lightning's been not used for a while in Constructed. But I run the 3 general one-mana removals, the Earth Shock, Lightning Bolt, and Rock Biter. The general idea of the deck is that you wait, you hold on to these cards until the late game when you have Gazlo, maybe wait until turn 9 and use 3 of them, whatever. But you use Gazlo to fill up your hand with the with mechs, because in the late game you tend to run out of cards. And then you have other control cards like Dr. Boom, but then you also have Ysera, which also fills up your hand because you're just starting to run out of cards. And the reason why you run out of cards as Shaman is because you have so many 3-drops, you have 2-drops, and you have lots of 1-mana removals. So where the weakness of running all these 1-mana removals turns into a strength with Gazlo, and you use these cards in the late game to gain an advantage of having all these mechs. And then we also fit in the weakness of Shaman of not being able to heal with anti-Keelbot. You could replace the Defender of the one of Defender of Argus in this deck to fit in another anti-Keelbot, so you can heal up some more. And other than that, you're running Big Game Hunter to deal with Dr. Boom, and then you're running very strong, since you're running very strong Battlecry minions such as Dr. Boom, Fire Elemental, Azure Drakes, Anti-Keelbot, I'm running a 1 of Recombobulator, and other than that, it's very general Shaman. I am running Knife Jugglers because it synergizes with our hero power. Whenever you put out a totem, you'll be throwing out 1 knife. And you have the Feral Spirits, who'll be throwing out 2 knives with those. And it'll just be useful in the mid game because we'll not have our 1-mana removal for the early game, because we're going to be holding on to them until the late game. So I decided to put at least a few more 2-drops in there, and hopefully we'll be able to deal with the early game push more efficiently without using our 1-mana spells. But other than that, we're going to see how this deck fares in ladder. And we're hopping right in here against the Warrior, and we're going to see what we can do with our opening hand. Of course, Unbound Elemental, Feral Spirit, good to have. We're not going second, so we can't coin Unbound Elemental, then playing an Unbound Elemental and Feral Spirit. So we'll get rid of one Unbound Elemental. We'll keep the Unbound Elemental and Feral Spirit combo, and hopefully we reach one of our 2-drops. Well, we don't. We end up pulling a anti-Keelbot, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to go into a very late game against the Warrior, and we're going to be able to really hold on to our 1-mana drops. So in this case, we're going to try to pull out as many totems as we can, and if we can get into the situation where we can have that taunt totem coming out every single turn, that'd be great. But we know that next turn we're going to be playing the Unbound Elemental. Hopefully he does not play Armorsmith here. And he plays the Armorsmith. So what's most likely going to happen is he's going to trade. He's going to use the fiery War Axe to trade with the 2/4, and he's going to trade and then he's going to trade with the 1/4. Oh no, he doesn't. He's going to end up going just for face. And we're going to be able to kill the Acolyte in 1 shot, overloading with the Feral Spirits. We'll get the 3/5 out. We'll hit, trade the 1/3, and get we don't get to have the silence, but we do have that healing totem, so our Unbound Elemental does get healed, and he cannot hit it with the 1/4. So we're in a fairly good position in this situation, but it could be better. Well, how much better can you get, right? We'll see. Now he's gonna trade in half a charge for 4 drop into half of our 3. Now, whether or not, what do we do here? We can Flame Tongue Totem, which I think is the best play because, well, we can't even defend our Vargas and we're not gonna Hex. And we want a certain way to deal with the 1/4. And since we do have the Healing Totem, it won't be a problem. So, trade in with the 1/4, you'll gain 1 armor. We will take down that armor and deal a net of 3 damage, dealing 4 damage, taking down 1 armor. And then our Unbound Elemental comes up, backed up to a 5/5. We have a fairly strong board. He most likely has an Execute, so he's going to try to execute our Unbound Elemental after the Whirlwind pops from the weapon. Nope, he uses Fugan. That's surprising. So I guess what we're going to do in this case is we're actually going to force our board control down his throat, and we're going to make sure that the whole that Stalag is an impossibility. We're gonna hex that. Do this. We're gonna hopefully we get the Taunt Totem. There we go, and everything's gonna heal up. We're gonna get a nice and our 5/5 or Unbound Elemental comes back up to a 5/5. We're really pressing our board advantage. In this case, we just want those totems out there so it has a feeling that we really have the board flooded, even though we don't. And in which case he's going to brawl and we're going to be able to play our bigger creatures. Now, hopefully this doesn't have a 0/2. It's both our totems. Both totems go down. It's unfortunate, but it's the reality of the situation. Now the question is do we play Dr. Boom next turn? Does he have the brawl? We don't know. And there's a Stalag. Alright. Now, we can either trade that in, or we can see, we can do, for 7 mana on the dot, we can either, we can just do the easy thing, Dr. Boom, get the boom bots next to this Flame Tongue Totem, that's not too bad. Trade the 5/5 in with the 7/4, or we can Mana Tide Totem. That's a fairly greedy play, so we're going to be safe. We're going to trade with the 7/4. We're going to put down the Dr. Boom, buffing up one of our boom bots up to a 3/1. And in this case, this might actually force the brawl, which isn't too bad. We get the boom bots off. Oh no, he has the Gorehell. He's gonna wedge that Gorehell right in there. It's not bad. Not bad for us at all. And then, well, we have. I guess we're just gonna press our board advantage. We have a 3/1 there. That's not too bad. And well, Knife Juggler and Defender Vargas, the 2 boom bots, forcing the trade with the boom bots. Trade this down and make him go down to about 5 health. And there's the concede. We don't actually get to see the whole Gazlo trade in. We're going to play one more game and we're going to see if we can show how good Gazlo is in Shaman.
Thrall versus Anduin.
Now, last game we actually didn't get to see the whole Gazlo interaction, so in which case we're just gonna play it over again. We're gonna have a second game where we're going to get to see against one of our less strong matchups. In this case, is against Priest, where he's gonna be able to Cabal Shadow Priest a lot of our 2-draw or 2 attack creatures, and so we're gonna get rid of the Big Game Hunter, Mana Tide Totem, Lightning, and we're gonna do a full mulligan. As good as Lightning Bolt is, we want to keep it for the late game. And well, there's a Knife Juggler. It's not too bad. When you're going to into turn 2, the Knife Juggler is useful if you use using the coin, and you can start getting that synergy off with the Totemic Call. But the thing is about coining this out against a Priest, it's actually not the best move because it'll either It'll 2-for-1 90% of the time. He's going to Holy Smite it. He's going to Shadow Word Paint it. But if he doesn't, we're in a good, really good position because we get to have the totems going out. There's a Shadow Word Pain. As I said, we get to have one of those Shadow Word Pains being used. And we're going to totem up. Next turn, we're going to be able to use our Feral Spirits unless, excuse me, unless we draw into our Unbound Elemental, in which case we'll play that before we play the Feral Spirit. Or maybe we'll be put into a position where we'll be using the Feral Spirit and then being stuck doing something else. But most likely our turn 3 is going to be just the Feral Spirit. And our Priest friend here is going fairly slowly. Playing out his game very slow, steady. Can't think of what he wants to play here.
The damned stand ready.
The damned stand ready. Is that so? Well, we don't want the 3-4 buffing anything up. And we could see that he's holding up a card. He probably is anxious in playing a card. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to Rockbiter Weapon the 1-1. Trade this in with the 3-4 so it doesn't get maximum value. And then we're going to totem up. The whole idea of actually using that Rockbiter Weapon is a move that you have to personally make yourself, saying, do I want to use this 1-mana spell rather than actually using it for Gaslow. In which case, we're not comboing Rockbiter Weapon with anything. We can use it as using it for trading. And in this case, we're going to be able to use Feral Spirit. And we could overload some more with Lightning Bolt, but then we wouldn't be able to play any kind of 3-drop next turn. And we'd be fairly mana locked, only being able to pretty much totem up. So we want to have the possibility of using Lightning Storm if he tries to extend his board position. And we also want to keep the Lightning Storm, as I said, for... sorry, not the Lightning Storm, but the Lightning Bolt for Gaslow. In which case we actually don't get to play anything really. We'll totem up, move on to the next turn. Hopefully he plays something with 3 health or less, and we'll get to use the Fire Elemental on it. And if not, then maybe we'll save it. Depends on how we're feeling. He's holding up 1 card. Was thinking about playing that card. Not sure. It's probably a 6-mana spell. He's probably it's probably a Cabal Shadow Priest somewhere in there, on the left side of his hand. He's probably thinking about maybe taking one of our totems, but he probably is assuming that there's something better that he could take. And in this case, we don't actually get the Fire Elemental, the 4/5. We could probably just either Hex it, Totem up, or we can Mana Tide Totem with a... Here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to Hex this. As bad as that sounds, we get to play the Mana Tide Totem, and the next turn, if he does actually have Cabal Shadow Priest on the left side of his hand here, we will most likely take the Mana Tide Totem as like a greed play, and then we'll get to use the Fire Elemental on it. So somewhat useful, and then we can and if he plays anything else, then we can extend out with the Lightning Bolt, but we prefer not to. So we're just gonna Hex it. And then Tide Totem all the way on the left side here, and then we're gonna draw a card with the utility. And now that we actually have Unbound Elemental, it's going to be useful for us to use Lightning Storm, since that's also buffed to 3/4 with our Wrath of Air Totem. We're going to wait for him to actually play something here, no? He's still playing slowly, as he has, there's the Cabal Shadow Priest, as I said, around the left part of his hand. And then we're going to be able to, we're not going to be able to really do anything else other than, in this case, Lightning Storm might be better than the Fire Elemental. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go intensively on the... it's not a good play to make, but we're going to have to make it anyways. We're going to Lightning Storm, really want to get that board position. Let's say this rolls a 3. It does roll a 3. Just gonna lightning bolt this. And this buffs that up to a 4 mana, to a 4 attack card. That's what I wanted, and I want the Unbound Elemental to have 4 attack, which is why I extended the card. And now he's gonna trade with this. He's gonna do the whole wham bam, hello, I have a circle heal play. And there it is. And that's the only way that he could really deal with that card, and then he's gonna buff it up with 2 more health, and then with the power word shield, and he's gonna conquer. Very predictable. And we're gonna roll totem, and then we're gonna feral spirit, see what happens here. And then he's probably gonna go to trade into one of those. And then next turn we'll definitely be able to play the fire elemental, trading in. Hopefully it'll stay as a 3/3. Maybe we'll have to use a wolf on it, not sure. Or we'll be using Dr. Boom. But we have to start playing out of some threats to see the big game hunters being played. And we want something
Let
being
me change your
mind.
mind.
There goes that. And I if he... Oh, I thought... I really thought he would have healed that for a second. But turns out that he was smart enough not to. So we're going to have to use another one of our 1 mana spells here to actually push our board control, because the priest constantly just fights for board control, and we still are yet to actually draw into the Gazlowe. So we might as well just fire elemental in for the 3 damage. And earth shock this. And you see we're running low on cards, you know. We need to we want to draw into these Sarah. We're going to be using Dr. Boom, and hopefully we can have some damage on it, so then we can use a Recombobulator. Or the dream in this situation is that we trade in with the fire elemental and with the 4/5, and then we Recombobulator it to get another 6 mana card, maybe like a Boulder Fist Ogre. Would be great. But in this case, I'm most likely going to trade into it. There you go. There's the trade. Very highly unlikely that he's going to do anything else. And we're going to Dr. Boom, totem up, and that's it. Just do it blindly. Really don't care what totem we get. It's just we're just using up our mana. So he's going to big game hunter most likely, or he's going to use a Shadow Word Death, which is most likely on the left side of his hand. He's been keeping a few cards. Here's circle heal. And there goes the bombs. Not bad. Hopefully we'll get to hopefully it doesn't kill us off here. Always hope. Ooh, there is the Ysera. So, do we want to get rid of this 1/3? Do we really care about board control that much? That's the question here. I really don't want him drawing any more cards than he has to. We're in like a top decking mode, so we're gonna get rid of the 1/3, dealing a lot of damage to it for like no reason. And then we're going to recombobulate that 7/2 for some good value.
I hear you got a problem.
Ooh, that's not too bad. Not too bad. And then we're going to use the Defender Vargas to buff this out of range of Holy Nova and out of the Shadow Word Pain range. We saw that he was running 1 Shadow Word Pain. Typically the priest decks are running only 1 Shadow Word Pain, but could be running 2. So we buff it out of range, and he's most likely Shadow Word Pain or 2/3. There's a Shadow Madness. Attack that creature right there. Then he's gonna Holy Nova, doing the best he can. And well, we do have some creatures to deal with the Ysera if he mind controls it, but not necessarily. But will Ysera chance that we're gonna have to take here and see what we get. And the Laughing Sister. course, we get a Laughing Sister. But no worries.
I dream in the world.
And there's a Zonya, Sarah. Okay. And there's a Light of the Naru.
In the light's
Not too
name.
bad for us. We'll be able to deal. We can deal 12 we can deal the 12 damage to the Ysera. Trading in a whole lot, but
Problem solved.
worth doing in this case.
I shall burn with breath.
And then we'll Knife Juggler.
Is there trouble?
Hopefully get him. There you go. It's not too bad. Hopefully we don't get another Laughing Sister. That would be terrible. But we have a 4/8 and we have a way to deal with it. And he's used both. He's used one
Is
Holy
there
Nova
trouble?
and a Laughing Sister. Oh, there's the second Holy Nova. Taking down two of them. Two of the cards. Two of our cards, I mean. And then we're gonna be able to use. And we're gonna totem up here.
I shall burn with breath.
Just want to bring down the Ysera in case he draws, mind control. You'll want to. There's the Ysera Awakens, buffed up to a 6-mana card, and we're pretty much done. And we see at least the utility of Ysera here. We have not seen Gazlo yet. There's a Shadow Word Death. Much sadness. He's gonna heal the 3/1. That would be useless. Would be absolutely useless. There you go. We want the totem first so we can get the Stoneclaw totem. There you go. We're not gonna play anything. We have the Ysera Awakens in case he tries to fight back for board control, and we'll eventually draw into our Gazlo. Eventually. See these priest games, man. These priest games. Alright, so how much damage do we have? We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and we have the lethal, I believe, 2. So we have 2, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That is lethal. That is most definitely lethal. Totem up. And we even have more lethal with the Wrath of Air totem.
I'm game.
There's your second for lethal kill. So we see that Ysera at least putting cards into our hand gave us some utility. Well guys, in the end we didn't actually get to see the Gazlo being used, but you get the idea. We had Ysera in there. Like, I will be posting videos in the future about the Gazlo Shaman. It's a deck that I love to play, but this was the gimmick deck of the week. You get the idea with Gazlo, you get the idea with Ysera. We know the weak point of Shaman, and we know that it runs a lot of 3-drops and stuff, and we run out of cards in the late game, in the control game. So it helps our game against Warrior, and it most definitely helps our game against Priest. As we saw, it was a very one-sided game in the end. Yes, he didn't have mind control, and he had his own Ysera. If he had his own Ysera on turn 9, just played it down, and then on turn 10 we got mind control, but he would have been in a very different position that game. And we did ended up, pretty sure we did end up using one of our hexes on a 4 or 5. Now, if you didn't make that decision, getting mind, if in the event of us getting mind controlled our Ysera, hex would have been an option, but we would have had 1 out of 10 chances in the end of drawing your Hex. So in the late game, you know, we got to revolves around picking up those useful cards. But anyways, you can tune in, guys, for next week. We'll be looking at another Gimmick deck, and we'll see you guys next time.